I know I haven't done a young adult video in forever, but I've been reading some of the biggest books in the YA world right now, so it's about time we revisited the genre. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I have finally read this cultural phenomena. In the future, virtual reality is a way of life. The creator of that technology, James Halliday, has died, leaving behind a quest within that VR world, and whoever wins it gets his entire empire. Cue a worldwide obsession with the 80s, the decade James Halliday was a teen, in hopes of finding clues to solve the quest. Going in, I was uncertain whether I would like this book, as I don't have a strong background in 80s culture and its associated video games, and granted, if I had, I may have been transported into paroxysms of rapture. But even without that, I was totally enthralled, enchanted, and quite entertained. This was a brilliant book. This book is actually kind of polarizing for my friends, but I definitely come down on the side that this book deserves all the adoration it has received. The Raven King, the final book in the Raven cycle, one of my favorite series of all time. I'm not gonna tell you a peep about the plot, just read it, start at the first book if you haven't already, and just enjoy. As for this specific book, I loved it. It's not my favorite of the series. That might be book 2, maybe? I'd have to read back through all of them to fully decide, but it's not going to be this one. Still, it was a satisfying conclusion to a wonderful series, and I really can't wait to see what Maggie Stiefvater writes next. Lady Midnight Book 1 in the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare. But as this is in the same universe as all her other books, I wouldn't recommend starting here. Go back to the first book in the Mortal Instruments series. But this spin-off series is shaping up to be a star-crossed lover tale of two Parabate. Parabate? I doubt you say that. Anyway, it's like a magical blood brothers kind of thing. The only rule is you can't fall in love. Teenagers Emma and Julian have been Parabate for 5 years, from well before puberty. Julian is essentially running the Los Angeles Shadowhunter Institute, and Emma is obsessed with catching her parents' murderer. This is a long book. A lot of things happen. Good start to a new series, reserving judgment on whether I like this as much as her earlier series until the series has a few more books under its belt. But so far, not bad. I read Jennifer L. Armentrout's latest book, The Problem with Forever. This is a standalone contemporary YA book from her. In this one, Shy Mallory has been homeschooled by her adoptive parents for years, but she decides to go to high school for her senior year. What she didn't expect was to see Ryder, who had protected her when they were in the same foster home years before. You know, I've read this plot before, and this wasn't the most memorable JLA book I've ever read. In fact, I keep forgetting I just read this. But I still felt drawn to the characters, and JLA's deft brushstrokes feathering out the edges of the relationship was really lovely. She's such a good writer that she can make me rediscover the joy of a reused plot. Alright, so I really liked the first Throne of Glass book. No, I take that back. I loved the first Throne of Glass book. So I eagerly continued on to book 2, Crown of Midnight. I won't tell you anything about the plot, so I don't spoil anything, but I gotta say that book 2 for me was slow. I was actually fine with the plot and where it went. She set it up so it'll keep its tension up pretty good for an extended period of books. I just felt that in the execution, the whole thing kind of moved really slowly. Like, we could have cut maybe 100 pages and still gotten where we needed to go. So I will be reading more because I want to see where the story goes. I'm just slightly less enthusiastic about this one than I was after book 1. Victoria Schwab's new YA book, This Savage Song, came out in mid-2016, so my book club, being the Schwab fans that we are, checked it out. The concept is pretty interesting. In a post-apocalyptic world overrun by monsters, Kate Harker creates havoc at all her boarding schools in a bid to return to her father and the half of the city that he rules. Once home and at a local school, she meets August, who, unknown to her, is actually a monster. An undercover monster. Okay, so while the concept was interesting, there was something missing in the execution on this one for me. Not bad, but lacked some of the magic of her other work. Felt like it could have been richer at parts. So I thought it was high time for a Harry Potter reread. I have so far reread the first 4 books, and here is the rundown of my current thoughts. And I'm going to be brutally honest here, with little regard to the almost religious nature of these texts to our current culture, so sorry if I insult your favorite part. Book 1, still just a magical introduction to the world of Harry Potter. Granted, you can tell it's a first book. She's still getting her feet underneath her on what the world exactly is, and the writing is definitely kids bookish. She's learning how to write here, but the story is so unique and new, and you can tell there's just a whole further world underneath to discover. I can see why we all fell in love with this book 2 decades ago. Book 2, I'm going to be honest, I disliked this book when I first read it. In fact, it made me quit the series the first time around. I was okay with it the second time around reading it. Now, on a third reading, I'm just like, nope, I don't like this one. Definitely my least favorite book of the series. It just feels weird to me. It goes much darker than the first book, but without Rowling's writing skill of later books to pull it up, if that makes sense. Book 3, this one gets better, but it's still not my favorite of the series. I think where it moves the story is particularly interesting, but otherwise, I'm rather indifferent on this one. Alright, book 4. Now this was the surprise for me. I remember being okay with it the first time around, but not over the moon. But this time, I was in love with this book. Her writing becomes magical in this one. Just the turn of description and how she descriptively sets up the Quidditch World Cup. It is so good. Here she's starting to turn into perhaps the best author of our era. Now I can understand why some of my friends find this book a little awkward and slow. Its structure is definitely not as structured as the previous books, which are fairly well paced evenly to the school year. This one doesn't even get to Hogwarts until like chapter 12, and then large swaths of the year are fairly uneventful except for the occasional Triwizard Tournament event. But I don't care. I almost liked the unconventional pacing. It gave me a chance to revel in her writing even in the slow moments. It felt real. We were all like that as kids, procrastinating on important things and letting wasted time just kind of flow past. And maybe it's not so wasted. Anyway, I loved this book way more this time around, and I cannot wait to read book 5 again. Alright, those have been my recent adventures in young adult. Let me know your thoughts on these books and what YA books I should be picking up next.